Hey geniuses, welcome to episode 86 of the Own Your Genius podcast. Man, this has been like a crazy couple of days with all of this trademark stuff that's coming out. Today's episode is going to be a little legal tea for you, okay? Where we take something that's going on in pop culture and use it to explain the law. Fortunately, for us, but unfortunately for Kim Kardashian, she is back in the news for trademark reasons. So last month, she announced that on August 1st, the KKW beauty website will be down for them to rebrand, right? And apparently that rebrand is infringing on some intellectual property. So she is rebranding to Skin by Kim. But the challenge with that is that there's already a black-owned beauty company that's using the word skin. They're actually using Skin Plus. The thing that makes this somewhat unique, but not really, and we'll get into that a little later, is that they both spell skin the same way, which is not the traditional way. They both are spelling skin S-K-K-N. So Kim Kardashian is S-K-K-N by Kim, and Beauty Concepts is SKKN with the plus sign after it. Now, the Beauty Concepts trademark has been in use since August 2018, and they use it to provide a skincare salon service. Now, Kim Kardashian, when she rebrands, that's part of a licensing deal which is going to expand her beauty empire from just cosmetics to now skincare services, hair care services, nail and products as well. So the products and services are definitely related. Now, on top of the conflict with Beauty Concepts trademark, there's also another player in the ring. And if we're being honest, when it comes to using skin for skincare, right, you're going to run into a lot of potential conflicts, and we'll get into that in a second. But the other player in the game is Lori Harvey. Lori Harvey is launching a cosmetic product line, and hers is Skin by LH. Her skin is spelled S-K-N. All right? Are y'all taking it? Maybe I should have asked y'all to get like paper and pencil so y'all can follow along and write all this down as we go. So we have three people in the beauty, cosmetic, or beauty and skin industry that are using skin in their trademark. And maybe that's where we're going to start. Like this thing, this application has so many teaching points. So I'm going to do my best to keep it simple for you and break it down. But the first thing that we want to talk about here, let's just start from the top. Who was first? Who was first? The reason this is a great lesson is because although Beauty Concept, which owns Skin Plus trademark, even though they've been in business since August 2018, they just filed their trademark March of this year, March of 2021, like March 25th or something of that nature. They just filed their trademark. Lori Harvey, on the other hand, filed a trademark last year for this cosmetic line. So you're like, oh crud, what does that mean? So Lori Harvey has not launched yet. So she filed an intent to use application. And the beauty of an intent to use application is that it gives you priority over anyone who may file after you. Okay, so now this is where we got to start untangling some things. So we have Beauty Concept, who was using it first. We have Lori Harvey, who's not using it, but filed first. So what does that mean? From an application standpoint, it means that the Beauty Concept application is now being held up by Lori Harvey, or it will be. It has the potential to be, because they're both using skin. And we'll talk about why it might not be in just a second. But because they are in the same or related industry, it could be held up by this application, by this business who's not even using it, which is why I always tell people file early, because if not, it can cost you more money. Because just because the application, Lori Harvey's application, might have priority because it was filed first, doesn't mean that she has the trademark priority. Because remember, trademark priority starts from the moment you use it. And if Beauty Concept was using this back in 2018, I feel like Kim Kardashian may have a two-way conflict because her name is similar to both parties. So she has Skin by Kim and then Lori has Skin by LH. Their names are spelt different, but they're very similar. They sound the same. The only difference is they have names at the end, right? And then Kim Kardashian has Skin, and it's spelled the same way as the Beauty Concept Skin, which, by the way, in the trademark database, those two applications are the only one that spells Skin, SKKN. So that brings us to our next point. So the first point was priority, right? First to use versus first to file. First to use will have priority, and that priority will be limited to their geographical area because they did not have a registered trademark. They're banking on their common law trademark, which gives you the right to exclude other people, but in your geographical area. So there's going to be a question of where, how business was and where are these clients coming from. Now, her salon is in a state, it's a salon, so it's not something that she's actually mailing products out to, but that doesn't mean that she's only doing business in her state, because you always can have people come and use your services from other states. Like, we're a service-based business here, and we have clients throughout the United States that work with us, and that can be the same for her skincare salon. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you all about is this thing about skin versus skin, which is SKN versus SKKN, same versus similar. And the reason that matters is because when we're doing when we're talking about trademarks and we're looking for infringement, we're not just looking for someone that has your exact mark. I have so many people that say, well, yeah, I seen another mark out there, but they spell theirs with an S and I spell mine with a Z, but it sounds the same. So in this case, they're skin, but one spells theirs SKN, other person spells theirs SKKN. But when the consumers are reading it, we're both saying it's skin. Like, we're all saying the same thing. So when you're looking for, like, if you're trying to do the search on your own, you have to make sure that you're just not doing a knockout search, which is typically just putting in the name as is without any type of variations, because that's not going to help you. You can pass a knockout search, but when you do your comprehension search, you realize that, they're just using a different spelling. And so you want to be aware of that. That same or similar, you want to make sure that you keep that on your radar.
Hey Genius, we're going to get back to the podcast episode in just a moment, but first I need to ask you, have you heard of the Genius Insider program? The Genius Insider is our low-cost, high-value legal subscription program for innovative entrepreneurs who are disrupting their industry. Your monthly, quarterly, or annual membership gives you access to free consultations and document review so you can speak with an attorney before you put yourself in a janky legal situation. Your subscription also gives you access to contract templates and discounted legal services. Visit geniusinsider.co, that's geniusinsider.co, to learn more and apply. Now let's get back to our regularly scheduled program.
The third thing I want to talk about is, let's just get down to it. This skin thing, right? You're like, skin for a skincare company. How can they get a trademark for that? It's because they're not just using skin, right? SKIN by itself. It's because they have other things with it. If you look in the database is full of trademarks using the word skin, but it might have skin by something, or skin-tastic, or skin, some variation using the word skin. But if you noticed in those applications, they have a disclaimer. So when you use a word that's common to that industry, like skin is for skincare, you're going to have to disclaim. You're going to say that no claim is made to the exclusive right to use skin apart from the mark shown. Meaning that you're saying that you're not trying to take ownership of the word skin outside of how you're using it in this trademark, which can leave the door wide open for other people to use skin in a different way other than how you're using it in your trademark, because it's so common. And if I just look right now, there are 12 applications for skin spelled SKN for beauty. There are 39 applications for skin, SKN, as it relates to some skin related service or product. Out of those applications, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 live registrations using skin, SKN. What that does for someone that's trying to register the mark, what that does is, because they have to disclaim it, them being able to say, oh, this person is infringing on my mark because they're using skin spelled SKN, is really weakened. So even though there are these two other applications out there, there's a chance that Kim Kardashian may still get to use her rebrand because it's not unique. Using the word skin for a skincare or beauty company is not something that's unique. When you have several people who have successfully registered something similar, your chances of having a really strong mark goes down. It also means that the likelihood of someone registering something similar goes up. And then the big question I'll leave you with today, because I don't want to make this podcast too long or overwhelm you with a whole lot of information. The other thing that I would say as it relates to this Kim Kardashian application, the other question is like, didn't she know this? Didn't her legal team know that the Skin Plus was out there? What you have to know about the USPTO test database is that once you file your application, it takes a couple of days for it to show up. Beauty Concept filed their application on like March 25th, and Kim Kardashian came behind them. Her legal team filed on like March the 30th. It's very possible for her team to have done a search inside of the test database and not seen the Skin Plus trademark because it might not have been live yet, because it takes a few days. So they might not have even known it was there, which is why it's very important that you, when you're doing your search, you don't just depend on the USPTO database. You make sure you do a comprehensive search and see what else is out there. You have to do a search for common law uses. And the reason that you want to do that is because earlier in this episode, I talked about Lori Harvey's application being at the publication stage. So the reason you want to do this comprehensive search and making sure that you search for common law uses is because when you get to that stage in the process, that publication stage, you want to know who is out there that may oppose. Because if they oppose your application, if they object to your application, then what that's going to do is take it off of that examining attorney's desk and put it in front of the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board, where you will have to essentially litigate. Right? You go into the litigation phase where you're doing discovery and filing complaints and filing answers and things of that nature, and it can get very expensive, and a good search could potentially help you avoid that. Because even though this Beauty Concept just filed their application, a good search would have shown that Skin Plus was out there, that they were doing business in multiple states, that they have almost 8,000 followers, that they're a business and they're doing something. That's something that was very easy to find, and you can't ignore when you find businesses like that are using a mark similar to yours and be like, oh, well, they haven't filed yet, so I'm going to go ahead and get this trademark. And then some people do that and say, okay, now I have the trademark. Can I make them take down their Instagram page? Can I make them rebrand? They were using it first. You're infringing on their trademark. How are you going to make them do anything? That's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope that it wasn't too much information. So what you have to be aware of is, one, when you're doing your search, you have to search for same and similar, right? Not just same, but also similar. Two, that search needs to go further than just the USPTO's database. You have to check for common law uses. Third thing is that if there are so many people using a portion of your mark, so in this one, in the example that we're using today, skin is the prominent part of the trademark, and that's the one that everyone's using, right? If there are a lot of people using that skin part as their trademark, yes, you might be able to get that trademark, right? But then if you think about on the enforcement end, how likely is it going to be that you're going to be able to enforce and stop other people from using something that's similar? You might be able to stop them from using the same because that disclaimer says you ask not to use it. You make no exclusive claim outside of how it's being used. You might be able to prevent them from using the same. But as far as similar, when the main thing is that word that you just claimed, your trademark is not going to be that strong. The other thing is priority, right? When you're filing your application, when you start using your trademark, if you're already using your trademark, don't wait any longer to get it protected, especially now when trademarks are becoming like a buzzword and everyone's getting one, you don't run the risk that someone's going to file something maybe not the same but similar to yours, and now it's going to hold up your application, or it's going to prevent you from registering because you won't be able to have the funds to defend it all the way, because it's going to be cheaper for you to rebrand. So if you're already using that trademark, go ahead and register it. If you're not, if you're in that pre-launch phase and that launch phase where you're getting everything together, don't wait until you launch in order to protect your trademark, because you're going to get to launch and be looking long-faced when you're not able to get your trademark because you're actually infringing on someone else's brand. So don't do it. Don't do it. Tell me, what do you think about this situation, this skin versus skin situation? Let me know in the comments below. Let's take this conversation over to the Genius Lounge. I want you to share this episode with 3 friends and have them meet you there. But you know what to do before you go. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and rate the podcast. Until next week, I want you to keep building your business, growing your brand, and owning your genius.